Good morning and welcome to Inside Texoma. I'm Melissa Kakarika, and today I'm joined by January Jones, who is the coordinator for PIE, Partners in Education.
Yes.
We're talking about Read to Learn today, a program you might be familiar with. It's been going on, since 2013 now?
Yep, so we're going into our third school year, yes.
So what's kind of the premise behind Read to Learn?
Well, Read to Learn, we started it to help children who are behind in reading, and primarily is second grade focus, so that way we can ensure when they walk in to third grade that they are no longer learning how to read, but reading to learn.
So really living up to the name.
Yes, absolutely.
So how does it work? How do you go about doing that?
Well, the children are assessed by their teachers, and then they, based on that assessment, we determine if they are going to be placed in the program, and then we start matching them with volunteers. The volunteers, we just ask for a 30-minute commitment one time a week, and our goal is to have the child reading in the program twice a week. But that volunteer, we only want, ask 30 minutes. If they can give more, that's wonderful. But ideally, a student could potentially have more than one student, more than one volunteer, I guess I could say. So that volunteer will meet with the student up to their schedule. So it could be between 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, as long as it's during school hours during the week. And they pretty much can be flexible based on their schedule, and they'll meet with that student once, twice a week, however they can. And we pull the student out of the classroom, and they sit down, and all the material is there for them.
So I know this has kind of grown since it did start back in 2013, right?
Yes, yeah, we're trying to grow it every year. When we first started it, we started with 7 campuses, then we moved to 8, and now we are at 11 campuses. So,
okay.
Yeah, and so the volunteers, they keep growing and growing, the more students every year. So we're over, last year we finished at over 400 volunteers and over 300 children in the program.
And I'm guessing some very great success over the past 2 years.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to let Stephanie talk about that, but yes, lots of great success.
Okay, we'll make a cut there. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. So a lot of great success. Now let's talk a little bit about the need for this, kind of why you guys are doing this.
Well, the statistics show that if a child cannot read on grade level by the end of third grade, then they are 4 times less likely to be able to graduate with their peers. And if they're considered economically disadvantaged, which unfortunately 66% of the children in our school district are, then they are 13 times less likely to graduate with their peers. And so we want to change those statistics and give them a chance at their future. So
you definitely want to donate some time to help kids learn. Open to anybody, I'm guessing? Who has
absolutely, yes. Need a driver's license, and we ask that anybody that's going to volunteer in the school district, submit their application and go through our background check. And those can be done in a couple minutes online.
Well, we talked about how this has been growing. What about, the future? Are we going to keep growing?
Absolutely. Our goal is to, hopefully in the spring, is go ahead and expand to those last 3 campuses. Obviously, the volunteers play the biggest part. This program does not exist without our volunteers. We cannot match students without a volunteer. So as long as the volunteers pool keeps rising, then we will continue adding campuses and students to the program. We have kids waiting for a volunteer as we speak.
And I bet the kids that are involved really get a lot out of it.
They do. It's more than just the reading. It's the mentorship. It is that that person that shows up every day for them. They are building that relationship. Some children don't have somebody in their life that shows up consistently for them, somebody that they can depend on, somebody that's taking that time and making them a priority. So yes, they're reading. Yes, that's what they're doing every time that they show up. But for these kids, it's so much more than that. And I can't really put words on that until you do it, until you live it and understand that what you're doing is more than reading. It's bigger than what you can imagine. And when you go there and meet with them and you're putting 30 minutes of your time for somebody else, for a child who needs you, it's very, very rewarding. It's one of my favorite parts of my week.
Yeah, and you're reading lots of books. I mean, they're learning about all different topics. I'm guessing they can kind of maybe pick what they're reading.
Yes, now the part that we use is for the curriculum side. We already have those material printed for them, and then the second part of what we do is the volunteer reads to the child, and there are a lot of choices that child can pick that book that they want their volunteer to read to them. So yes, it's kind of two parts.
Okay, well, how does somebody sign up to be a volunteer?
They go to our district website, the wfisd.net, and they click on volunteer registration.
Okay, and I'm guessing they can get a whole bunch of information on the website.
Yes, or they can call me, and my number is 940-235-1009.
Well, you just touched on the curriculum and how that works.
Yes.
And also the volunteers and the kids, what they get out of it. So we're going to talk with some people who know firsthand about all of that.
Yes, absolutely.
when we come back to Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Today we're taking an inside look at the Read to Learn program through the WFISD. So I'm joined by Stephanie Parsons, who is the first and second grade curriculum coordinator with this program. So tell us a little bit about how this works, what your role is as the curriculum coordinator.
I do a lot of the curriculum part where we use Reading A to Z as our curriculum. It's a online leveled book system. And we, like January said before, we get those printed for each of the schools, and they are leveled. So the teachers do running records with their children to decide what level that child is on, and that's how they're put on that level. And we take those levels at the beginning of the year, and throughout the year they're assessed on running records, and we check to see how much they've moved up.
Okay, now let's talk about how this works for the majority of students, how they move up.
Okay, they move up by if they're the running record will tell whether they are reading independently or instructionally, and if they are reading independently, they move up to the next letter. It's an alphabet letter system. It goes from AA, being kindergarten level, all the way up to 5th grade level.
So this is a very important age group while they're young. So why is it important for them to do these running records?
It is important to see what level the child is on, because if a child reads on their level consistently, they will become better readers. If they read on a level that is too hard for them, it's hard for them to grow. It's like playing basketball. You do not play on when you're 5 and 6, you don't play on a big college basketball court. Mm-hmm. You play on littler courts with littler balls so you can become more successful. That's kind of like reading.
That's very true. Now, let's talk about how successful this program has been over the past 2 years.
Well, last year, when we looked at how many levels they moved up for anywhere from 1 to 10 levels, but the majority of the kids moved up anywhere from 4 to 6 levels, and that is significant.
Absolutely. So pretty successful, I think we can
yes.
say. Very successful. So very successful. Now, what are some other ways that you check their reading levels?
We, in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, we have a TPRI, which is given the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. And TPRI stands for the Texas Primary Reading Inventory. And last year, our 2nd graders, at the beginning of the year, we had 57% that were frustrational, meaning that they could not read 2nd grade level material successfully. Doesn't mean that they couldn't read, they just couldn't read the grade level material successfully. And by the end of the year, a lot of those children were in Read to Learn. By the end of the year, it went down to 15% frustrational. So that was a big, significant drop from 57% to 15%.
So we know that the program is successful. What can parents, I guess, look out for outside of all these testing and the levels, maybe to see if they need to be involved in Read to Learn?
The children need to be involved. It's usually the teacher who decides.
Okay.
Well, not usually. It is the teacher who decides what child is in the Read to Learn program. We have some criteria that they look at. They look at the TPRI beginning of the year scores. They look at other things in their classroom that they've done, some common assessments and things like that, and they kind of prioritize which kids would benefit from this program the most, and that's how we decide what children are in the Read to Learn program.
Okay, so what's it been like for you kind of seeing this success and kind of knowing how important this program really is?
It has been great. I also myself volunteer, and I have for the past 3 years, and I love going and seeing those kids. They love seeing us, and a lot of those kids don't really have somebody to sit and read to them.
Yeah, and it is, of course, again, important to make sure that they're reading at their level.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add about the curriculum?
No.
All right, well, we're going to talk more about volunteering. I know you just said you get a whole bunch out of it, but we have another volunteer waiting to tell us her experience as well. So we'll be right back on Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Today we're looking at the Read to Learn program, which is based a lot on volunteers helping kids learn how to read. So I'm joined by Nancy Vanucci, who has been volunteering for many years with this program, right?
Yes, this is actually my 3rd year. I started volunteering at the very beginning of the program.
So what made you want to get involved?
Well, I had done some mentoring in the past at some of the schools, and so I knew that I loved the kids. So, if I could be of any help at all to any child to help them be successful in life, then that's pretty rewarding for me.
So tell us a little bit about your personal experience, what it's been like for you, what you've gotten out of it.
Well, I tell everybody that really those children help me more than I help them probably, because every one of these kids seems to have a story that, you just get attached to them. I've grown to love every child that I've ever mentored or helped. And even some of them now that they're no longer in the program because they've moved up into another grade, I still will follow up occasionally with the school or with the teachers on how they're doing, because to me it's important, Of course, they're not in the program anymore, so you're not helping them on a regular basis, but you're hoping that something that you had done when they were in the program has helped them be a little more successful in school. And I've even had teachers come up to me before and tell me how much better some of these students have done in their other subjects because they now can read their instructions, they can understand their instructions, and so that's just very rewarding to hear that a child is doing better in everything because of something that you spent 30 minutes of your day trying to help them achieve.
So you've worked at multiple campuses, right?
Yeah, I started out at Alamo, and when Alamo went away, and most of the administrators and teachers and everything moved over to Scotland Park, so I was familiar with them, so I moved over to Scotland Park with them. And then I was at Sam Houston, and then of course Sam Houston went away, so a lot of those teachers and everything moved over to Zunde, so I just followed them over to Zunde. And then today, I actually started at Ben Milam helping a little girl there because I was real familiar with that campus because that's where my grandchildren attend school. So I've been over there several times in the past, so I started there today. And I tend to go before I go to work in the mornings because I find that to be the best, because most of the time if I go to work I'll get busy with something or meetings and different things that come up, and so I don't want anything to interfere with my time with the students, so I try to do that and get that out of the way first thing in the morning. And usually they're at school ready to go by 8:15, so it works really well into my schedule.
Now you mentioned you have grown to love every student that you've worked with. Any stories that really stick with you that really illustrate how impactful this has been?
Well, I had one little girl that was she was very challenging. When I got her in the 2nd grade, I'm going to guess, the levels start at like AA. She was a AA. And to me, I don't even think she was probably reading on a beginning 1st grade level. She had had some medical issues that maybe had caused her to not be able to learn a lot when she was in kindergarten and 1st grade. And they finally had her on her right medication and everything now, so she was doing a lot better. But she was so far behind that I had to spend a lot of time with her. I actually stayed with her for 2 years. Okay. I was able to stay with her for 2 years just simply because she was so far behind, and I actually went and bought some books on phonics and different things, sight words and things that they probably had learned in kindergarten and first grade that she was not exposed to or didn't retain. And she really did so well. I'm not going to say that she was where she probably needed to be at the end of the second year I helped her, but she was so much further along than where she would have been had I not.
So it's just really rewarding for you.
Oh, yes, yes. And she's one of the ones I still follow up with because she was just an amazing little girl. She's very talented in art, and so her art teacher actually sent me some pictures that she had drawn this year and everything, and she asked the art teacher about me all the time. And so, you know, I may not ever see her again, but she will always be special because I know where she came from and how hard she worked to get where she's at.
Great. Well, what a great story. Now, your first year, you were also named Mentor of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Little birdie told us.
Yeah.
What did that entail?
Well, it's just you're voted on by the Partners in Education Board, you know, and you have to be nominated. And of course, one of the schools that I had volunteered at had nominated me, and you know, I was very surprised by that because I don't do it for any other reason than the children. But it was nice of the school to recognize that I spent a lot of time with these kids and that I really and truly love them, and you know, I want them to succeed.
Yeah, well, nice affirmation there for you. Now, what would you say to the public to convince them to become a volunteer?
Oh, if you've never, ever volunteered for this program, I really encourage you to do so. I think most people that do it 1 year, they will go back and do repeat years because you can't help but see the difference that it makes in that child's life. And as an adult, and where you may have struggled even in some things in your own life, you can see how rewarding that is to help a child. You know, because a lot of these children, you know, it's very frustrating when they can't read, and so therefore they don't like reading. And if you can help them be a better reader, they will get to the point to where they really enjoy reading, and the more they enjoy it, the more they will read. And some of these children, they come out of homes where we have a lot of Hispanic children in the district that maybe their parents, you know, can't speak very fluent English, or either you might have children that stay with a babysitter after school because their parents have to work in the evenings, you know. But it's real important, and I tell each one of my students that it's important that they go home and try to read at least 30 minutes every night to their parents. And the more they read, the better they will get at reading. And so I think if you can just help a child and encourage them to do that, I mean, to me, there's no greater thing than that.
And you mentioned earlier, you know, you just did it right before work, so you shouldn't be turned away by the idea that it's going to be so much extra time.
And the times that maybe I had a meeting or something where I couldn't go before work, I have called the school and talked to the coordinator, and they'll usually tell me what time their lunch period is, and they'll be finished eating lunch, and if I want to come then. So I have gone in the middle of the day. I mean, those coordinators are really good at helping you find a time that works into your schedule to help these students.
Nancy, thanks so much for, of course, helping out our students and, of course, sharing your stories with us.
Yeah, I love it. So I encourage everybody to sign up today because we need more volunteers. We really do, because when you think about it, you spend 30 minutes a day with a student, but if we had enough volunteers to where that could happen 2-3 times a week with that student, they would be so much further along.
All right, well, we'll have more on exactly how you can sign up and more about Read to Learn when we get back. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. We've been talking about Read to Learn, and I'm joined again by January Jones, who is the PIE Partners in Education Coordinator. Let's talk a little bit more about Read to Learn. I know you guys do a lot of incentives kind of to get this going.
We do. We have a lot of support throughout the community, and you know, which is a great part of the Read to Learn and keeps these kids motivated and excited about reading because like Stephanie kind of mentioned earlier, if these kids aren't excited about it, then they're, you know, if they're not good at it, then they're not going to be excited about reading. Mm-hmm. And so we want to keep them encouraged, and if they're doing good, then give them that little extra incentive. So various different partners that we have and throughout the community help us along the way with different, you know, free meal certificates, things like that we do. We do different parties at the schools. But one of our big ones is we have a rally in January, and we have done it every year since the program started, and that'll be on January 29th. And we will be having every second grade student from all 11 campuses attend the rally, and every second grade student will be given a Read to Learn t-shirt, and then every student that is in the Read to Learn program will be given a military style dog tag that will have the Read to Learn logo on it. And so these kids get really excited about it. They will be performing a chant, kind of a cheer about reading, and when it's their turn, their campus stands up where they're at and they perform the chant and cheer, and they are just adorable when they do it, and to hear them get excited about reading, and we just continue that motivation and encouragement for them. And we give out some prizes there. Last year we gave out some Scholastic memberships, so where the kids can have some books delivered to their campuses every month for them to again encourage that reading. And then at the end of the year we do some end of the year parties. This last year we did them at the bowling alley. And we, of course, couldn't take them all there at once, so we had to do them individually. And there we were able to give away bicycles, and we were given 2 per campus, 1 boy, 1 girl. And they also got backpacks, Read to Learn backpacks with books in them, and those were given to them per their grade level.
Okay, so a lot to be excited about if you're a kid in the program.
Yes, yeah, we just keep on pushing that reading.
Yeah, that dang reading.
Yes.
No, I think I remember hearing some of the chants before too, because sometimes News Channel 6 will cover some of these rallies, and they're adorable. How excited they get.
Yes, they are, and they're and it's not cheap for us to put on those things, and so again, the community has really come on strong and really helped us. I could not be more proud of where I work and the community that I am in. They are extremely supportive and really get behind this program. So.
Well, we know the kids are excited, but we do want to get the volunteers excited.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit more about training and kind of how it works if you do want to be a volunteer.
Yes, we're not just going to throw you out there to campus and say, okay, go figure it out. We will schedule a training with you. We will do that one-on-one that fits your schedule. We'll invite you to come to my office or any other place that we can make work out for them. And we will take about 10-15 minutes of your time to get you trained after we get your application submitted online. And then we will get you selected to the campus of your choice, as long as it's one of the 11 campuses. And then from there, you will get your schedule fit with that campus coordinator. I have a Read to Learn campus coordinator at each of the 11 campuses that will work one-on-one with the individuals that are assigned to their campus.
Okay, now to get more information about signing up, we just showed you the website. Is that the best way to do it?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to the wfisd.net, and then there is a link that they can click on for Partners in Education, and then they can click on Read to Learn. That will give them more information about Read to Learn specifically. And again, to submit their application, they can go to the wfisd.net and click on Volunteer Registration.
Okay.
Or call me.
Yeah, and any special qualifications they should know about?
No, just passing the background check, and that's really about it, and have a valid driver's license.
Now, what else would you like to get out there about Read to Learn? Anything we've missed today?
No, not really. Just understand that you truly are making a difference, and though it is focused about reading, it is so much more than that. These children are getting way more out of the program than just reading. So I just encourage you to try it. Give it 30 minutes once a week, and see what kind of difference you can make. These kids need us.
Yeah, we've already seen success, and we just want to keep seeing that grow, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, thanks, January.
Thank you.
And special thanks to Nancy and Stephanie who were with us earlier in the show. Make sure you get out there and sign up for Read to Learn and help out some kids in the community. And thanks for tuning in to Inside Texoma.